Hi guys. Well, we're back from spring break, or we probably are, at least for our class, we'll be back tomorrow night. But we're working on chapter 9 in addition to our new project, which will be the elements and design project, or the texture design project, I think I've called it previously. But anyway, so we're going into chapter 9, the in-class exercises. I'll tell you in a little bit, but we're going to demo the first 2 or 3. This chapter is on sharpening. And I've heard Kelby say many times before that this should be the very last thing that you do to an image after you've done all of the editing and before you print it or before you upload it, is the sharpening process. And he shows you a couple of different ways to do that. We're going to start out on page 288, and he indicates that after we've tweaked our photos the way we want them and right before you save it, we'll want to sharpen it. And he says we'll definitely want to sharpen it. He says he sharpens every photo either to help bring back some of the original crispness that gets lost during the correction process. I did have only one glass of wine, and I promise you that. Or to help fix a photo that's slightly out of focus. So either way, he indicates he hasn't met a digital camera or scanned photo that he didn't think needed a little sharpening. So the first one we're going to work on is a basic technique for sharpening the entire photo. And step 1, we want to open the photo that's going to be sharpened. Because Photoshop displays our photo differently at different magnifications, choosing the right magnification, also called the zoom amount for sharpening, is critical. Now, I didn't realize this. Actually, I sharpened it at whatever zoom I happen to be at, normally at 100%. But because today's digital cameras produce such large-sized images or files, it's now pretty much generally accepted that the proper magnification to view your photos during sharpening is at 50%. So we want to, if we look up in your Images, Windows title bar, yeah, if we could find that, it says, displays the current percentage of zoom. And it is ours, if you see where my cursor is, ours is at 50%, which is the appropriate way, or the appropriate zoom to sharpen. And he says the quickest way to get a 50% magnification is to press Command plus if you're on a Mac, or Control plus, which is the plus sign, if you're on a PC. And then to zoom the magnification in or out, it's the Command minus or Control minus. All right, but since I'm right at the right percentage, I'm going to leave it where it is. Now, step 2, once we're viewing our photo at 50% size, we're going to go into the Filter menu, under Sharpen, and choose Unsharp Mask. So again, we go under the Filter menu, once we're in the Photoshop menu, and go down to Sharpen, and then over to Unsharp Mask. And this, if you're familiar with traditional darkroom techniques, you probably recognize the term unsharp mask from when you would make a blurred copy of the original photo and an unsharp version to use as a mask to create a new photo whose edges appeared sharper. Well, when the unsharp mask dialog box appears, you'll see 3 sliders: amount, radius, and threshold. The amount slider determines the amount of sharpening applied to the photo. The radius slider determines how many pixels out from the edge of the sharpening it will affect. And the threshold determines how different a pixel must be from the surrounding area before it's considered an edge pixel and sharpened by the filter. By the way, the threshold slider works the opposite of what you might think. The lower the number, the more intense the sharpening. So again, what numbers do we enter? And he's going to give us some starting points, but for now we're going to just use these settings. Amount's going to be 120%. Yikes, that looks really, yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, well, we'll listen to him. And then the radius is 1 pixel, and the threshold is 3. And we're going to click OK, and the sharpening is applied to the entire photo. And we're going to see the after photo. Yeah, that seems like an awful lot, but okay, we'll do what he says. Okay, not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. Then on page 290, now the soft subject sharpening. We're going into a different image at this time, and he's using that beautiful peach-colored rose, I think it is. So we're going to go over to Open, and we're going to navigate to where our files are, and we're going to open this sharp, beautiful, oh my goodness, that just screams spring, and I'm so spring hungry right now, or maybe summer, spring, summer, I think, but it's gorgeous. All right, so here are the Unsharp mask settings. We're going to go up to Filter and down to Sharpen and over to Unsharp Mask. And the amount is 120%, the radius is 1, and the threshold is 10. And he says that this works well for images where the subject is of a softer nature, like flowers, puppies, people, rainbows. It's a subtle application of sharpening that is very well suited to these types of subjects. So we're going to click OK. And one thing that I would do if you're in doubt as to whether or not anything was accomplished with that sharpening, you want to go to the window and bring up your history. And let's go from Open to Unsharp Mask, and you'll see the significant difference between those, that step of the Unsharp Mask. And again, with this one, if you just go back to Open and then over to Unsharp Mask, and again, just a very slight or subtle sharpening, but really nicely done. All right, so for portrait sharpening, again, we're going to do File and Open. And we are going to open this one, Portrait. And then he says if you're sharpening close-up portraits, try these settings. The amount is 75%. So first we're going to go again to Filter, Sharpen, and Unsharp Mask. And now I'm going to move the image a little bit so her face is in the shot like it is in his shot or in the textbook on page 290. And then we're going to set the amount at 75%. Hit Tab. The radius is going to be 2. Hit Tab. And then the threshold is 3. And hit Tab. And then we're going to click OK. It applies another form of subtle sharpening, but with enough punch to make the eyes sparkle a little and bring out highlights in your subject's hair. So I'm going to click OK. And then again, I'm just going to go back. Oh wow, look at her eyes. If you don't see the difference immediately, take a look at her eyes and then click on the Unsharp Mask again and you'll see immediately what a nice job that does. So, and his tip on the bottom of page 290, he says if you need to apply a higher level of sharpening to a portrait of a woman, first go to the Channels panel. So we're going to go to the Channels panel so you know where that is. And click on the red channel. So we're going to click on the red channel to make it the active channel. And your image is now going to appear in black and white, which mine did. Now apply your sharpening here using a higher amount, like, I don't know if we want to apply another Unsharp Mask, but we'll try it and see if it squawks at us. Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And then I am again going to move her face into the image. And now using a higher amount at 120% for the radius and hit Tab. I'm sorry, that was 120% for amount. The radius is 1 and hit Tab, and threshold is 3. And hit Tab. Now, right to this red channel. By doing this, it avoids sharpening most of the skin texture and instead just sharpens her eyes, eyebrows, lips, hair, and so on. So once it's applied, click on the RGB. So we're going to click OK. And then we're going to click on the RGB channel at the top of the Channels panel and return to the full color image. So again, I'm going to go back to this first unsharp mask and then go to the second unsharp mask. And again, that's very subtle, but you can see a slight difference. Now on page 291, a moderate amount of sharpening. So we're going to do a file and open. And we're going to change out this image for, what is that? Those look like cowboy hats, right? Oh, here it is. And then this is a moderate amount of sharpening that works nicely on everything from product shots to photos of home interiors and exteriors to landscapes, and in this case, some hats. These are his favorite settings when you need to apply some nice snappy sharpening. So we are going to again go up to filter, go down to sharpen, and down to unsharp mask. And then we are going to fill in the amount of 120. The radius is 1 and the threshold is 3. And we'll see how you like it. So let's click OK. And then again, go back to open. And then unsharp mask. And again, just to, if you check out the bling on that hat, you can see a lot, well, not a lot, but you can see quite a bit of difference between the two. Without and then with. And then maximum sharpening. This is again with another image, so I'm going to do a file and open. And we are going to open this one. It's maximum. And on this one, we are going to go to filter, unsharp mask, sharpen, and then unsharp mask. And then using these settings, the amount is 65% and hit tab. The radius is 4 and hit tab. And the threshold is 3. And in only 2 situations, one, the photo is visibly out of focus and it needs a heavy application of sharpening to try to bring it back into focus. And remember that one, because there are many times, I mean, I have many times that a beautiful shot, great color, nice composition, but it's got a little bit of out of focus issues going on. So this would be one that you would use the settings for that. And then the photo contains lots of well-defined edges, rocks, buildings, coins, etc. And in this photo, the heavy amount of sharpening really brings out the detail in the edges of the building. So I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to apply my little test. Ooh, yeah, you can see a significant amount of difference in the details of those buildings. Then all-purpose sharpening, and I'm probably just about out of time, so I'm going to quit at the bottom of page 290. I'm 291, and then I'm going to take a look at what else we've got in this chapter to determine which ones I'm going to have you hand in to me. So we'll see you back here in just a few.